Saws are generally used in woodworks and carpentry to cut pieces of wood into different shapes. But in other industries, such as the mechanical industry and construction industry, hand and powered saws are used to trim and cut different materials according to project and use. Saw major types, sawing hazards, and general saw safety precautions will be discussed in this video. There are two major types of saws: the hand saw and powered saw. Hand saws, also known as panel saws, are non-powered saws. In other sectors, it is also called the fish saw. It is designed for cutting but operates by the handheld option. The saws also operate manually. Some types of hand saws are coping saw, hacksaw, rip-cut saw, and cross-cut saw. On the other hand, power saws are mechanically powered. It has a source of power that pushes materials to either cut or trim. Many types of electric saws fall within the category and use specific power sources to cut through materials. Powered saws are some of the easiest saws to use nowadays. Some powered saws we use on site are chainsaw, circular saw, bandsaw, jigsaw, miter saw, table saw, wet tile saw, pole saw, reciprocating saw, and scroll saw. OSHA warns of three major hazards workers face when using a circular saw, which are the point of operation kickbacks and flying particles. Point of operation injuries can occur if an operator's hands slip while cutting or if they're too close to the blade during cutting. When a blade catches the stock and throws it back towards the operator, this is called kickback. Kickbacks happen when the blade's height is incorrect or if the blade has not been properly maintained. They also are more likely to occur when ripping rather than cross-cutting. Kickbacks also can occur if safeguards are not used or if poor quality lumber is cut, OSHA adds. Lastly are the flying hazards where operating a powered saw, such as a circular saw, can cause wood chips, broken saw teeth, and splinters to be thrown from the blade and toward anyone nearby. The following are the general saw safety precautions. Wear safety glasses or goggles or a face shield with safety glasses or goggles. Do not wear loose clothing, jewelry, or work gloves. It may get caught in the blade. Wear an approved respirator or dust mask when exposed to harmful or nuisance dust. Use appropriate hearing protection equipment in noisy areas. Never drink alcohol while using a saw. Never look away from work for any reason. Use sharp blades. Dull blades cause binding, stalling, and possible kickback. Use the correct blade for the application. Set it for the correct depth to minimize the amount of exposed blade. And never disable safety guards, and always read instructions first. There are also safety tips specific to hand saws, which are as follows. Inspect the hand saw thoroughly for any signs of damage before using it. Do not use the hand saw if the handle is loose, the blade is bent or broken, or if there are missing blade teeth. Keep and store the hand saw properly so that no one else uses the tool, and mark it as unsafe. Choose a saw handle that keeps the wrist in a natural position in the horizontal plane. Knots, metal pieces, nails, and screws in the stock may damage the blade. It can also cause buckling of the hand saw, which can lead to injury. Hence, properly inspect the stock beforehand. Start the cut by placing your hand beside the cut mark with your thumb upright and pressing against the blade. Start the cut carefully and slowly to prevent the blade from jumping. Pull upward until the blade bites. Start with a partial cut. Then set the saw at the proper angle. Cut harder materials more slowly than soft materials. Lastly, do not apply too much pressure on the blade as the blade may break. Let's now discuss powered saw safety tips. Set the depth of the blade while the saw is unplugged and lock it at a depth so that the lowest tooth does not extend more than about 0.3 centimeters or 1/8 inches beneath the wood. Keep all cords clear of the cutting area. Never use your hands to clear the scraps from a sewing work table. Instead, use a push stick. When starting, let the saw reach full speed before cutting and support the work firmly so it will not shift. When starting or stopping the saw, make sure the work is not touching the blade. And circular saws are designed for right-hand operation. The left-handed operation will demand more care to operate safely. To sum up, anything that contacts the saw blade can be hazardous. Using a hand or powered saws without being trained or flouting the rules can lead to serious or fatal injuries. Avoiding potential hazards can be prevented by following the safety rules strictly.